If you were to share one of your more character defining moments of your life, what would it be?
I had this time period where and I've written about this to some extent. I mean, I haven't written about some of the darker parts of this, but I got married very young. And then a few years later got divorced. And, the way it was handled, a lot of it was on me, but I ended up in a situation where I had very little money and not enough money to afford an apartment in New York City where I lived. And instead of asking for help, I spent several weeks pretending like everything was fine because I was embarrassed and not wanting to ask for help and wanting to see if I could scrounge up enough. I had a job, like I was running a business, but no one knew that I was homeless. And so for a few weeks, I kind of bounced around. People knew, something was up, but I didn't really let on what was going on. And then to a couple of dear friends, including one of my business partners and his wife, who were amazing. I let them in on what happened, and they're like, "You've been homeless for 3 weeks. Like, what are you doing? Come stay with us." But during that time period, one in hindsight, like I learned that people are there for you when you need help, even if you feel humiliated. Like no one really cared about the embarrassment factor. They're like, you're going through this hard thing, and it happens. People get divorced. Like, why are you pretending like everything's fine? I also had a mentor who really helped me out during that time, and he's passed away now. But that him helping me through that was like a really defining moment. I wrote about that actually in the epilogue of Dream Teams. But I will say that during that period, I frankly had a drinking problem. And, I realized that I was coping with, my internal whatever by doing something that I had never done before, which was starve myself and drinking to excess and like being really dishonest with myself and with others. And I was just like, I, I really sort of went into this spiral of self-destructive behavior. And, it took like opening up to other people and letting them help me um, to get out of that. And I think gratefully, I don't have an addictive personality because I was like, I really, went to some bad places there. Um, but no, I was punishing my body and, and being irresponsible and not being a good role model. And coming out the other side of that, I think just from a character defining standpoint, having going through something where you realize you need to be a more honest person with others, I think is a very valuable thing to learn. And I wish I had, I hadn't had that chance really to get there earlier in my life because things had either gone well or, integrity is a big part of who I was. So having this time period where I've just dropped all of that, like I learned what is really like how I don't want to do that. But I think the dishonesty with myself, like the self deception of, the problems that I was putting on myself while I was experiencing real problems that were, somewhat external. I was creating more problems for myself because I was being dishonest with myself and understanding that, like realizing that and spending a lot of time journaling and, therapy and, and opening up to other people helping me helped me sort out a lot of that. And that's where yeah, a lot of the, the virtues and values work in business that I've done sort of came out of that exploration, self exploration of what does true personal integrity mean? No one knows if I text you, we're supposed to meet up and I text you, I'm around the corner and I'm 3 blocks away. You'll never know. But I know that I just made a little, I was being deceptive. That it maybe won't matter in the long run. But a habit of doing that sort of thing, especially when you're weak or when you're compromised, can very easily turn into, a much bigger problem. And so I committed to, at that period of time, I committed to being more honest, even when no one would know. And that I think has made a huge difference in my life.